Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this week's session of the xLights GEMS presentations. This week's presentation is on controller builds and the parts you need to build a controller, and it'll be given by David Robinson. With that, I'll turn it over to you, David. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. First, let me mention this isn't a studio, it's just my garage. So I'm going to do the best I can with what I have. I'm going to be presenting my opinion on and show how I do things. There's so many ways to do this stuff. You may find something better. One of these other guys may offer information. It's all good just to get your boxes built. So the first thing you need to do when you're building a box is determine what equipment you're going to have, what controllers, like a K16, a K8, F16, whatever board you're going to have, because that's going to determine that and the power supplies, which box you use. So there's multiple power supplies you can use. I think you're aware of the Meanwells. Meanwell comes in multiple sizes, I think 350, and then they have a larger one now, it's 750 or something. But those are great power supplies. They're adjustable. When you hook them up, take a multimeter, make sure the voltage is right. You can adjust it. There's a screw in there that you can change the voltage to get it where it needs to be. I think it's 12.4 is the optimum. Excuse me, my allergies are bothering me. Another common power supply we use is a server power supply. This one's a HP 900. Puts out 900 watts. So with that, I can control multiple controllers with that, but I can also use it for power injection. There's boards that you have to get in order to use that. This is a right angle power supply board, and it also has power injection if you look at it. Got to figure out where the camera is. It's got 6 power injection ports and 2 places to hook up controllers. It's also all fused and ready to go. This board I got from JBoards, but Wizards of Wire also sells them. I think JBoards is out of business now. But this clips on the back of the HP power supply, and I use these quite a bit. Another one is that they make is a clip-on board that does both pixel and pixel power and has ports. So like this one has 4 power ports. I just don't have the Phoenix connectors on it. Has 4 power ports, and then it has your 4 pixel ports. So this is a receiver. It's a dumb receiver, of course. You notice there's only one connection to it. So this would be if you're only running a single dumb receiver. But this gives you power injection and 4 parts for your pixels. Things that are common to use. If you're using Wi-Fi, you want to make sure you have the right Wi-Fi antenna. This one I got on Amazon. You need to look for your board and find out which one specifically you need to use. If you're going to use a antenna, more than likely you're going to want to put it on the outside of the box. So you're going to need an extender for the antenna so you can mount the plug inside and then mount the antenna on the outside. So that cord allows you to extend it out to the outside of the box. I'll show you one in a minute. Another thing some people use, depending on the controller, are these SD card extenders. People say they suck. People say they work. I'll leave it up to you to make your decision if you want to use one. A lot of people use them and they just pull them out and throw them away because they don't think they work. So, but some of these boards are the beagle bone is on the bottom and it's hard to get the card out. So some people use these extenders. I haven't used any personally, but I'm going to try it and see how it works when I build my next K16, which is sitting right there. Another thing you're going to need is a, computer cable, right? These are I get these at a thrift store. I go in and they sell them for $1 a piece. So you're going to need that to supply power to your boards, to your power supplies, of course. Another thing you're going to need are offsets. There's different size offsets. These are, I think, 4 millimeter. No, these are 2 millimeter. And then these are 4 millimeter. So you need to get some offsets to mount your boards. And I'll show you how I do that in a minute. I'm not fancy like some of these guys here. I don't have a printer. So I mount all my stuff either on a piece of plexi or Lexan or mount it right on the box. And I'll show you that in a minute. The other thing is you might want to get a box of bolts. These are M4s. Yeah, these are all M4s. They're stainless. You're going to use those quite a bit because you can use them to put in the back of the, let me see, in the back of the PSU and bolt it to the side of the case if you don't have a printed mount. I did buy some printed mounts for these. You can get these out on one of the Thingiverses or whatever. These are kind of standard mounts for those, and I use those. The other thing is make sure you have some number 10 wire when you hook from your PSU to your power to your board. Some people like to use these. These are fuse blocks, and you would cut the wire and you would put it in line on the power to the PSU. Again, use this if you want. I've used it on one of mine. I'll show it to you in a minute how I used it. It's probably not needed because most of the PSUs are fused anyway, but I just like to do it. And these boards are fused that I use on the other power supplies, so they're not needed. EFL pixel pusher. Another thing you might want to consider getting are labels. You may print these if you have a 3D printer, but these really come in handy to name your ports. Those came from Wired Watts, so he sells them all day in different amounts. There's some for power supply. You're of course going to need extensions. These are Raywu extensions. Something I do that a lot of people do is I don't do that a lot of people do. A lot of people don't use these. These are ferrules. Ferrules go into the wire, and you crimp them on, and it allows it to bite when you insert it into one of your power lugs. It just slides right under it, and it gives it a good hold. Some people say tin wires are good. Some people say bare wires are good. You know what? They'll all work. I just find these, I like the way this gives a feeling, especially when you put it in a Phoenix connector. It crimps it square, and that way in the Phoenix connector, you know you're getting a good connection. You're going to need network glands. There's two types here. One where the gland has the connection on the outside. To be honest, these I've had trouble with lately. I had 3 go out last year. So I got network glands that have a network on the connection on the inside and a network connection on the outside. So that way when you install this, you're not twisting the wire. And this is going directly from the inside of the box to the board. Some of these may require to be right angle. I don't have any, but some are right angle. I have some coming. I just didn't come in time. Right angle gives you the ability to plug into some of your boards. I haven't run into an issue with that yet, but that is an opportunity to clean them up. So over here, here are the ferrules. The ferrule kit, I got it on Amazon, right? Really cheap. Comes in all these sizes. And the crimper's right there. You're going to need step bits. Buy them on Amazon, buy them at Harbor Freight. But these are perfect for drilling your holes in your boxes. They come in, as you can see, different sizes. You can even use old-fashioned hole saws if you need to, depending on the size of your gland nuts. Since we talked about gland nuts, there's different sizes, and they're used for different things. These are PG9s, and PG9s are large enough to fit a good-sized wire through. Now, PG9s come in different sizes. These are also PG9s. You can see the difference in the size. I ordered these and thought I could use them and built a box with them and realized I couldn't. So I went and got these PG9s. The other one's PG7s. PG7s are small. They're used for your connections for your pixels. They're perfect for that. They tighten up. You'll need those on your extensions. A lot of people put vents on their stuff. I use these vents. These are bud vents, and I'll show them on the box in a minute. One's a snorkel, and one's just an input. I'm in Georgia, so it doesn't get really hot, but it tends to in the fall, and just brings air in the bottom and goes out the top, so it's just convection. A lot of people use the larger vents, and these have the ability to mount fans on them, and I'll show you how those work in a minute on another box. So here's a box I built already. People wonder, how do you get the spacing right and how do you know where everything's going to go? I use a piece of megatree strip, perfectly spaced at an inch. Just lay it on here and go through and mark how you want them to go on the box. This box I did a while back. I spaced out a little bit more than these, but with a megatree strip, you can use it, just lay against the box, mark the holes, and then come back and drill them with a step bit. This box is a ammo kit from Harbor Freight. This is, I think, a 50 caliber or 50 millimeter ammo box. I don't know, you probably can't see the holes, but I'll show you them when I have done over there. But I bolt everything to this. I don't have anything printed in most of my boxes. A couple of them I do, but most of them I just bolt everything to them. Another box you could use is something like this. This is it's a Harbor Freight box. If you really want something that's watertight, this is called an Apache. You would lose all the foam. It's a little bit thicker, a little bit more sturdy, but it has all the surface area to mount all of your extensions on. And it gives you plenty of room for anything you want to put in it. This is a watertight box. The question is, does it need to be watertight? And the answer is no and yes. It needs to be watertight if it's going to, depending on how you're going to mount it and where it's going to be. I'll show you a box in a minute where it doesn't matter. As you can see over there, there's other boxes. 50 caliber, a small box, and then a little bit larger utility box in there as well. I'm going to start using utility boxes. They're a little bit bigger than the 50 caliber. This is a utility box. Those boxes all came from Harbor Freight. They range in price from like $5 to $35. But any box will work. It's just how you use it. Now, I mentioned before venting. I'm going to move over here. I'm going to start bringing the boxes over if I can. Are there any questions while I move?
Nothing yet, David.
Okay. Let me get over there. I'm going fast. If you guys want me to slow down, you're going to have to tell me. Okay. Over here are the mini boxes I've built to make my show run. I don't have all of them, but this is a good representation of them. The first box I built was what is this? A CG 1200 or something?
1500. CG
1500. This has a K8 in it and a F8. F8's for power injection. K8, of course, runs the show. 2 power supplies. I mentioned how I use the fuse block right there over to the K8, the F8. Runs 2 power supplies. They're both, the grounds are put together. This box doesn't have to be watertight because
Dave, can you pick that up a little higher?
Yeah.
There you go.
This box doesn't have to be watertight because the bottom has foam lugs in it, but you do have to mount it in a vertical manner like this, so when it gets wet, it'll go down. Now, there is a seal and it does become watertight, but this one has to be mounted in a vertical orientation so it doesn't get moisture in it. I talked about the vents. This has a snorkel vent on it. Again, it takes air through the bottom and it comes out the top, just convection. Here's an antenna. I also have network cable outputs. Even though I don't need them, I put them on here anyway. They're just here because I can run my network cables out of the bottom. On this one, you can see there's 4 1-inch glands. Because this box that's vertical, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be airtight. A lot of the box builders even use steel glands to hold them together. But when a box is oriented like this, the water's going to drain out anyway, if any gets in it. Any questions about that?
There is one question. Mike asks, when is it necessary to use multiple power supplies?
So a power supply puts out so many watts or amps, if you will. Depending on how many pixels you tend to run out of your on your controller, tells you how many power supplies you need. So with a culp at 40 frames a second, you get 800 pixels a port. I think 800 pixels times 8 ports. That's I think it's right on the edge of, somebody do the math real quick. It's like
Just over 6,000 pixels.
Yeah, it's over 6,000 pixels. So you could go out and use the calculator that tells you what your breakdown is and what your power supply needs are. So you'd have to figure out how many pixels you're running to determine how many power supplies you need. Did that get what you needed? Okay. I mentioned earlier about using the vents, putting low right here, and then putting it on the top. This is a 50 caliber box. This has one 900 watt power supply in it. It's running a K8 and it's running a power injection board on it. So it has one PSU in it. It's running 6 power injections and 8 pixel ports, and everything on this board's maxed out when I use it. I do inject power on everything, so I just do it. That's just what I do. A lot of people don't like it, but I don't like having to do, have more controllers because it's just more stuff to go wrong. I'll run an EFL snow globe, I think is 750 on one port on this, and then I'll run power on the end of it from it, so it powers it just fine. Running it at 20% or 30%, depending on the distance from the road, that's what I determine my brightness. And my snow globe sets right up on the street, so I bring it back to 20%. The next box is it MTM? Is that right, Andy?
Yes, MTM ammo crate.
Yeah. MTM ammo crate. This is an MTM ammo crate. It came from Amazon. Again, the vents are on top. I put 2, and I put 2 vents on the bottom for convection, so the heat would go out. It's running a K16, 16 ports. I don't know if you can see them there. There's all 16 ports. They all labeled. And then I'm running 12 power injection ports off the side and 3 network cables. So this runs my Megatree, and it also runs all my receivers in my front yard. So 2 PSUs, K16, power injection off of the boards from J-Boards or Wizards of Wire. That will run whatever 16 times 8, whatever that is. It runs my Megatree and a lot of other props in the yard. So that takes care of quite a bit. It's running 2 900 amp or 900 watt HP power supplies. Let's get over to receivers. This one is a smart receiver. It's a Falcon smart receiver. You can see it. I don't know if you can see it in there, but it's bolted to the side with offsets. And can you see that? It's bolted through and there's offsets there that holds it in place. So the box is literally the mounting. Same with the PSU. I just put bolts in through the back of it into the PSU and everything's bolted in this box. There's my 4 outputs and it's wholly self-contained. This is one of the only smart controllers I have. I have another one over there on the ground, but I use them as done controllers. I don't use them as smart controllers. So that's how that's set up. Sorry for the noise. This one's another 900 watt power supply. It's running it's just running the right angle board, which is 4 pixel boards and 4 power injection. A network cable, again, it's a dumb receiver. It's just taking data, nothing sending out from it, it's just receiving it. I don't vent these. I don't get enough heat in here to worry. But I do get moisture in here, and I get moisture in here because natural heat and cooling cycles cause moisture to form. So I check them every day and make sure there's no water in them. I've also gotten water in the MTM as well from convection or from heat cycles. So you're going to get water in them. There's no way you're going to keep them out. So this is an interesting board box. This is a windshield wiper motor to run a mechanism for my dragon wings. And it's fully self-contained. It bolts to my Megatree. It has a crankshaft here that runs the wings. But again, this is a use of a small ammo box. And it contains everything I need to run my wings. So I've gone quite quickly on everything. Guys, is there anything I missed that I needed to speak about on this? Oh wait, one more box, sorry. One more box. This is a projector box. I'm gonna have to hold it. It has a Raspberry Pi in it, and it runs the projector. I remember these vents here, if you can see it right here, it has a fan on it. This box gets quite hot because the lamp in here is very hot, so I have 2 intakes. One powered exhaust and one just open exhaust. But this has a top one. I just don't have it now because I wanted to show you what it looks like. But this is a projector box. Just has a piece of plexiglass here. And I set it out and it can stay out all weather. It's taped on because I peeled it off from here last time because I got a new projector. But this is how you can make a projector box. Anything I missed that you guys want to hear about?
There was a question that says, have you found the need to add a powered vent fan, or are convection vents sufficient?
Again, I'm in Georgia, so it gets warm in October, but it hasn't gotten, I mean, you can monitor the heat of the controllers, of course, from FPP, and I haven't seen anything get over 130. Most of your controllers go up to, I think, 160. I think that's the upper limit for a BeagleBone.
Yeah, about 85 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, 85
for electronics. Celsius. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the max you'd want to let it get to. Things will start shutting down or melting.
I do have over on my table, I just can't get to it right now. They sell thermistors on Amazon. A thermistor is a device that it's normally open, I believe, and you put it in your power line and you put it in your box, and the thermistor will tell the fan to come on when it reaches a certain temperature in the box, so you really don't have to monitor it. It just comes on automatically. The one for this projector I just run constantly because it gets so hot in there. But I really haven't had a need for it. Winter, of course, I don't need anything. I don't have any heating needs. The hottest box I've got before was this one. And if I were going to add a power vent, it would be on this one. But it's got up to 140, but that's within limit, so I just let a rotator chip. Any other questions?
Yeah, there's one that says, do you have any issues with water leaks from the bolts going through the box?
I haven't yet. None. I haven't had any. I mean, I did buy silicone and I haven't put them on it yet. I've been running these boxes for years. And I haven't found any water intrusion through the bolts. You just don't overdrill the hole. Don't overdrill the holes bigger than the bolt. The bolt will thread through the bolt or screw, machine screw will thread through the plastic and then into the power supply. I also put a washer behind the power supply, so it's off the side of the box a little bit so air can get there because it needs to get vented a little bit. But yeah, I've never had problem with water intrusion other than, like I said, heat cycles for these receivers. Sometimes they get water just because they get hot and then they cool off at night.
Another question is, do you have a strategy for your labeling?
Strategy. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
like your cable labeling for your pigtails and your power.
Yeah. So this one's all labeled. This is my original label. You can see them there. I just used white tape and I wrote it on there with a magic marker. When I build the box, you can see I label where I'm putting the port so I know which one's what on the box. But then I also put, labels like these on, this one I built a long time ago before I knew these labels existed. So I just used white tape and wrote it on there with a magic marker. And then I marked power injection with red. So I know those are all my power drops. I just put red tape on them. One thing, when you build a box, you want to get some plugs. Like, I don't know if you can see, this is a plug on it. It screws on the pigtail and it keeps it blocked. You want to make sure you get some of those for your boxes because when they set out in the yard, and it rains, it keeps the water out. I put those on every box. Here's another type of plug. These are caps. I don't know if you can see them. These cap off the extensions. And these are a friend of mine printed them for me. They say Ray on them. But cap off your stuff so it doesn't get water in your pigtails. Any other questions?
Uh, any questions to ask yourself when determining what controller to buy?
Uh, when I got into this hobby, there were no controllers available. So I started with Dig Unos and I ran my whole show the first year on Dig Unos. Uh, then I spent months of hell digging through all the data sheets for all the controllers, and some of them caused me confusion, so I didn't buy those and I went with Culp. Now, it's a personal preference, of course. Um, I like Culp because it's all contained. A lot of people don't like them because you have another device, a BeagleBone. I don't mind that. It gives you the ability to run your whole show on any one of the Culps. Everything's self-contained. It is another point of failure. I got it. I understand that. But I decided to go with the Culp because back when I started, I was personally confused with the sharing the banks. That doesn't exist anymore with the Falcons. At the time it did, but bank sharing is not a problem anymore with the new Falcons. Even the experience boards. I think any board you can get a hold of is a good board. It's just, what is it you want to use, right? One thing I failed to mention is I think I showed these, but I'm not sure. They sell these offsets. They are self-adhesive and they snap into the board. You can snap it into the board, into the hole, and you can use those so you don't have to put screws. You can get those on Amazon, different lengths and different tip sizes, but they just snap into the hole in the board and then peel it and self-adhere it to the inside of the box. So you don't have to drill any holes if you're concerned about drilling holes through the box. But those are perfect for holding the boards in place. So my consideration was a pixel count because I made a decision that I wanted to max out number of pixels. And for me, the culp at 800 pixels, 40 frames a second kind of set it for me. That was one of the things. The other thing was no port sharing, pixel count numbers, which is not a big deal. Don't let me freak you out. It's not a big deal at all. But you asked me why I made a decision. I think, there's just so many good controllers out there. When I got into this, there weren't many. It was, I started on I got my first order in the week before Thanksgiving, and I had my show running Thanksgiving week. And I had it up and running. But again, I was using Dig Unos and got it done, just got it done. I don't know that there's any bad controllers out there, to tell you the truth. A lot of people use SANS devices. They're not as available as they used to be. There's other boxes, there's other controllers that people mentioned that are not good from different vendors. And I'm not going to bash any vendor on this. It's just not worth it. So just know that everybody has an opinion. And some people may not like a board for some reason, and that's their opinion. And if you make a decision, just go with it, and you're going to have to deal with the consequences and roll with the punches and make it work for you. That's kind of all you can do.
Another question was, how does the wing box drive your wings? What does that do? Your motor box.
If you go out to our website, you can see it.
Yeah, if you go into Lights on Abbey, there's a video of his dragon with the wings flapping.
Yeah, lightsonabbey.com, and go to the education section, and I talk about building the box, and I talk about building the wing mechanism. So, and I list all the parts, and I show it in action on the site. So go out there and look at our site, and you can see how it works. It makes the wings flap up and down. In the box is a pixel to motor controller, which is put out by Matos. It runs on red, so the brighter red it is, the faster the motor runs. The less bright the red is, the slower it runs. So you put it on a pixel. It's one pixel in a string. You control the brightness of that pixel and make it go fast or slow. So the mechanism is all parts from Matos. It's a wiper motor and bolted in the box. But again, go look at the video, and it shows you how to make it, and you can see how it works. And if you make one, let me know, because I had fun doing it. Any other questions?
No, that was the last one in the list.
Okay. Well, thanks for giving me opportunity to show you this stuff. Again, this is how I do it. Other people do it different ways. There's no right or wrong way. It's how you do it and make it your own. And that's kind of what I've done. And yeah, just have fun with it. Thanks a lot.
Hey, you're welcome. Thank you, David. Does anybody have any questions you want to just holler out and ask before we stop? No? All good? Well, thank you again, David. That was good.
You're welcome. And I'm in the Zoom room almost every day. So if you have any questions, just jump in here. There's some people in here most people in here are a lot brighter than I am, but I'll try and answer anything I can. Thanks for letting me do this, Andy.
You're welcome. Thank you.